week and
a
few
upgrade.
days or so.
I think it's free.
I think it's 8 days now. For Horizon Forbidden West came out. So I was a huge fan of Zero Dawn.
I was too.
It
Great
was a
game.
fantastic game. You need to play it, Logan.
You haven't played it yet?
No, I've not played Horizon yet.
Do you want it?
No, I have it.
Really, really good.
Because I think it was on Games Pass, or not Game Pass, but PlayStation Plus or whatever.
It might have been. It was because
it was.
Because I have it. That's how I've gotten it, I think.
I still haven't played the DLC for that.
What is it?
Frozen something.
Frozen Wilds.
Frozen Wilds. Yeah,
It's good.
I haven't played
really
the DLC yet for it, but I do love the game itself. It's fantastic. I'd say like a solid 9 or 9.5 out of 10 for that game.
At least, for sure. It was a well-needed action-adventure RPG, well put together, that we just needed one for a while, and it got Game of the Year, I'm pretty sure, and it really deserved it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Forbidden West came out, and I just want to say my first review, I guess, of how far I am. I'm pretty far into the game, but
like a percentage, what do you think?
Are we going like 100%, like everything collected?
Like just through the story.
Over halfway, probably.
You're over halfway through.
Yeah.
Okay.
60% probably.
Okay.
I'd say it's Zero Dawn with just more.
I'm on board already.
So a lot more different machines and everything to fight. A lot more different weapons and everything and outfits, or your armors and stuff. Bigger map, lots of places to go. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's San Francisco, right?
Partially.
Okay.
And Las Vegas and other places.
Wait, Vegas too?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Pacific Southwest or whatever.
Because I remember them showing like the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff, in a few spots in San Francisco. So okay. Because I know the first one was Denver.
That's cool.
And it's mostly in Colorado, but there's some little bits of other pieces. But yeah, it's Pacific Southwest, I think, for the most part.
Really want to play this.
Looks freaking stunning. I have it on PS4 and it looks good.
That's great to hear, actually.
Environmental, it's like they've kept everything solid, like the same, because it was always a smooth game, right?
Yeah.
Seamless gameplay. It was awesome.
Now, you don't have a PS4 Pro, do you? Just the base PS4?
Just base.
Okay, and it runs smooth on that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's actually great.
Runs smooth, and it's just, everything's revamped to better,
How does it look in comparison to the... It
looks really good.
Zero Dawn?
It looks really good.
Does it look better?
Yeah,
I
think it looks better.
Okay.
Yep.
So I've seen screenshots with people on PS5, and like they get in the photo mode, and you're able to like zoom in on Aloy's ear, and like you can see like the individual like the fuzz on her ear.
Yeah,
even
you can see
it's
like beach fuzz and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like the amount of detail that went into that game is insane.
You're like obviously in the desert for a while and stuff. When she's in the desert, she'll sweat, and you can see sweat on her.
I think one of the most impressive graphical bits I've seen was in the photo mode when there was some old guy sitting down in front of her, like you're talking to an old man. Mm-hmm. And the guy is zoomed up on Aloy's eye, and you can see the reflection of the old man in her eyeball, which really I was like, that just is ridiculous to me. And I that's kind of why I want to play it on PS5 over PS4, because I don't know if you're going to get that detail.
You probably won't.
Is that ray tracing? Is that...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it has ray tracing in there with that. For that, it'd have to be, yeah.
But no, it's fantastic. It takes place 6 months after the first game. It just
is that it? Only 6 months?
It literally just jumps right into the story again and continues.
So it'd be smart for me to replay Zero Dawn.
You don't necessarily have to.
I kind of want to though.
But
if it's
you
right
can.
After.
Yeah.
Kind of want to.
Or at least look up an in-depth like story lore thing.
Yeah.
Of just Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
But it jumps right back into it. Reoccurring characters, people you've met. You know how you kind of like, if you did everything in the first game, at the end and the final kind of stuff, you have people that fight for you and stuff like that. You become your friends.
Yeah.
Well, people reoccur, and and like cool. There's just more. I don't want to give much away because you haven't played it and you plan on playing it. It's really, really good. Story is fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just as good as the first one, if not better.
Because I remember the first one, I loved the mystery of it. What the whole what happened.
Yep.
And now that you kind of know, I was curious to know how they would play.
And you keep more. You keep more of that. Like it adds bits to it.
Because I felt like you uncovered a lot in the first one. And so if they're able to add that, or like to keep that sense of mystery into it,
yeah,
I'm actually super excited.
Like, okay, so at the end of Zero Dawn, Gaia destroys herself, right?
Yeah.
To save everything, and then you kind of destroy Hades. the world is still crap, and it's going to crap, and it's dying still. And your whole purpose of this is trying to figure out how to restore things and like save the planet again.
Yeah.
And then lots of crap goes down, obviously. So that's where you pick off right after that, where the world is dying still. And like it's just so good. Battle is seamless. You know, there's the same, so like different collectibles, all that kind of stuff. You know, different types of things. Hunting, proving grounds, tall necks, and all that stuff. Like,
see, I will say that's the only thing I really wasn't a huge fan of with Zero Dawn was the getting up on the tall necks for the maps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get the concept of it, but I don't know,
you still have that.
I wasn't a huge fan. Like, I get it, but I'm so... I feel like that's overdone in games. You know, we're like, hey, climb the tower to unlock the rest of the map. Or like
so it's like the Breath of the Wild thing?
I mean,
it's kind of like...
just for your map to see. Like, you still go places. It's all unlocked.
Yeah.
No, I know, but like...
It's kind of like Assassin's Creed getting up on the overlook areas.
Yeah,
and
it's like Breath of the Wild.
And Far Cry, when you have to get up onto the towers,
Stuff's
you know.
been around since before.
I know.
I just feel like that concept in video games is so overdone now that I wanted something that was kind of
for it, though.
There's a purpose for it. I will agree, but I feel like there's they can come up with a more creative way to do it. You know.
Yeah.
The thing is, you know, it got monotonous, right, in the first a little bit.
Yeah.
They do it, all that kind of stuff they do differently now.
Okay.
They don't do it differently. It's the same thing, but different instances of how you go about it. Like, so, one tall neck that I did, you find out that it's, like, missing all these pieces, and there's a bunch of, like, scavengers that were trying to steal pieces from it.
Okay.
And so you can't climb up because the pieces are gone to climb up, you know?
Yeah.
And all those,
so you gotta go get
all
the
those
pieces.
scavengers were killed by machines because whenever you mess with a tall neck, all the machines show up, right?
Yeah.
So you have to use these ballistas and like hook anchors to like pull it down and drag it down and stuff, like, and then you can, you know, override it and get that part of the map. But that's just one instance. Like, it's a different type of way you get onto the tall neck or deal with it on every one of them. Like, so it's not so monotonous every time.
Yeah.
See,
I feel like that's exactly what it is in every game with the tower stuff. You know, it just feels so monotonous, and I don't know. I get it.
A check mark thing, and it's there's purpose for it, whether it's your type of thing or not. There's a lot of puzzles in this game.
See, I like that. I do like
puzzles, all that kind of stuff, which is cool. A lot of people don't like that. I heard one instance, just read an article from Game Rant. Take that for whatever you will, because they kind of suck. But they're like, oh, the Metroidvania elements of this game that they threw in, and just, you know, bring it down to a really bad level kind of crap. And I'm like, what, really?
Metroidvania.
I'm like, why is this Metroidvania?
No.
Like, it's because you can go through the game and you can't always do everything because you don't have a tool for it yet.
That's just open world.
I feel like that's quite a few things.
You can come back and open up more or get like treasures and stuff from other places when you get that, you know, item or tool that you need for it later on in the game.
Yeah.
Because it's open world. I'm like, that's not freaking Metroidvania.
No, Metroidvania is distinctively that 2D platformer style.
Like, Game Range retarded.
That's stupid. That's almost like if I were to be like, oh, you know, for example, like with Skyrim, you can't do the main story unless you do the Golden Claw quest. So that means it's the same thing. You know, the same exact thing. It's the Skyrim mechanic, obviously.
That. I'm like, who cares? Like, you're bouncing back and forth throughout the entire map all the time. You go back to places that you've already been. That's the whole point. Yeah. But all in all, like, it's seamless gameplay. It's really fun. Man, some of the machines suck.
Like, suck as in you don't like them, or they're just hard to fight?
Like, they're hard to fight.
I was at Dan's house one day.
No. I'm like, all right. It's stupid. Like, I've just got into, I broke past the Daunts and the Barren Light, which is, like, epilogue and first beginning of it.
Okay.
I'm not west yet, you know?
Yeah.
And I run into this area, and it's a freaking Thunderjaw place. First, I'm, like, super low level. He's, like, triple my level, and looks like, oh, go fight that. I'm like, no.
I did. I told him to.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to shoot it from this far with, like, a hunter bow into one of its, you know, really weak spots.
Yeah.
Shoot it. No health goes in. I'm like, all right, I'm done. So I walk away. He's like, no, go fight it.
Well, then you found that, like, cannon, didn't you, or whatever?
Yeah, I ripped off, like, a Ravager cannon.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, heavy weapon. Let's shoot it. No damage.
No
I'm like,
damage.
I'm done.
Yeah, that...
and he hits me with one blast, and I'm like down to an inch of health. I'm like, no, we're done. We're leaving.
You're at the point where like a mosquito that farts from 3 miles away would kill you, huh?
Like the farther you go west, the harder everything gets.
Well, I mean that makes sense though. Like what we were talking about with the Pokemon game, like
That's
even though it's
true in
open
real life.
world, that is true in real life.
Yeah.
You end up in California, life gets pretty hard.
Yeah. But like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, story is so good, and side quests are like so worthwhile. They're so cool.
Dude, that's awesome to hear. I really
Like,
I want to play this game.
some of them like you don't have to do, but you have to do because they give you stuff that allows you to do stuff during the game. But some of them are just really cool. There's cool characters. Man, the Vegas part is my favorite thing. So yeah, so
See, now
Yeah,
that
I need to
I didn't know
play this.
Vegas was in this game, and
it's
I'm
just a desert
genuinely-
until you realize it's not.
I'm genuinely excited to like see
That one's
this,
really
this
cool.
trip and stuff like that. I think one of the coolest moments though was because I mean with the first one, and sorry for kind of you've had
No,
time.
you're good. I need to play it.
With the first one, it was like I didn't know where it was at first. They didn't really say, or they might have said,
No,
but I
You had no
ignored it.
idea until the beginning,
And
until
so-
later on,
Well, not even the beginning of the game. Like it was later on in it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when I got up and I recognized Mile High Stadium, like with the horseshoe. And
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait. And then you see like the Air Force, the training, whatever, that building. I forget the exact name, but it's a very distinct
Yeah.
looking building. And you see that, and you see the horseshoe of Mile High Stadium, and you're like, wait a minute, this is Denver. And it just kind of hits you. I'm like, this is so freaking cool. Like,
That's cool.
because you get up on a mountain, you see that, and then I ran down and I started exploring the stadium. I was like, this is one of the coolest things,
It's such a unique style of post-apocalyptic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
love
that's
it.
something that
It's
has
really
intrigued me about it. That I need to play it. The whole like
You do, dude. It's
It's-
so good.
prehistoric, but it's post-apocalyptic. It's like you're fighting dinosaurs, but they're robots.
Yeah, because
it's
it's basically the reset switch got hit,
yeah.
with-
It's like everyone is so primitive, yet there's such ridiculous technology everywhere.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
don't know
But no one
where
knows
it
how to
came
use
from
it.
or how to use it.
Yeah,
That's how things
except
are going to
for,
be here in
one
a few
specific
thousand years
person.
after Russia has their way.
Yeah,
I think
this
it's
is like
awesome.
in the 3000s,
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome, but like
it's a really good story, and
Mhm.
if you always know me, really good story makes really good game for me.
Oh yeah, you're
So-
a very story driven guy
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Which that's great. I
Yeah,
I
That's
love a
what
good
makes
story.
good games. Like not even I think past just my own preference. Like that's what makes good games.
Oh, absolutely.
and
yeah.
and they really knocked it out of the park with these. And I'm
Usually
super
Sony
excited.
first party games do.
Yeah.
to be fair.
They have
Sony
the
is
story.
the company that
They have
goes
the
and
story.
is like, all right, this is what we're founded on. And we're gonna keep with it because that's what
Yeah.
people love.
I feel like the main distinction is Microsoft is more of a, we're going to push the story off to the side. Let's make sure that multiplayer is
It's
our
all
big focus,
multiplayer.
right? And then whereas Sony's like, you know what? We're going to push the multiplayer off to the side and let's make sure the story is our big focus. And that's kind of the big difference between the two. Obviously, there's a lot of games that go back and forth.
Sure.
There's like you have the cross-play and everything between them. But for their exclusives, though, it definitely is a obvious thing, especially now with them getting like Activision, Blizzard, and all this stuff. It's like it's very obvious that Microsoft is more multiplayer focused, whereas Sony's more story and single player focused. Which
Well, that was always the issue with them for quite a few years now. They only worried about hardware.
Mhm.
They had no games.
yeah,
Nothing. They had no exclusives. They had no
Yeah.
really good exclusives. Nothing that made them anyone want to buy their console.
which is why I still don't have a PS. Well, I mean that, and the lack of just being able to
That's
find
why
them.
they
Like
keep-
I don't have a PS5.
That's why they
yet,
bought
but-
Bethesda.
Oh, you're talking
Just Microsoft in
Xbox.
general.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why they bought Bethesda. That's why they bought Activision Blizzard, to have something.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, buy this console for this stuff
Yeah.
instead of just, this is really it's the best processor in the business for streaming from a console. I'm like, no one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, this hot take here, anyone that actually cares about streaming
Yo,
and wants to do it as a job is not streaming from a console. So that part, who cares? Like anyone that actually cares about their stream quality is not doing it directly from a console. I started out that way, but it was only for like a few months until I was like, you know what, I need to get a PC.
They just have the most loyal fan base ever, Zach.
Yeah, Zach goes, Nintendo can accomplish the impossible while botching the basics. That is incredibly true.
I don't know about that. I think that's a bit harsh, but
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, Zach is one of the biggest Nintendo fanboys of all time, and if he can admit it, you can too.
I don't.
Don't look
I
at
think
it
they
through
have-
rose-colored glasses anymore. I know you love them.
I'm really not. I think
You so
They
are.
have-
You so are.
I wouldn't even say they botch. I'm just saying
I think
they don't care.
They have
about
gameplay. That's what they specialize in.
Is it though? It's not really. It's just it's nostalgia.
Yeah, they're
They
playing
live
off
off
of nostalgia. Yep.
And
And simple
you know,
mechanics that kids
well-used-
can understand.
Yeah, it's family oriented.
Yep.
Well used IPs that are iconic, and they don't want to move from that.
Okay, well,
I get
Terraria
it.
here
That's
says
fine.
Joy-Con drift, but I feel like an issue with hardware does not
Yeah.
play into gameplay
How about
and
prices
software.
for Joy-Cons?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The most expensive things ever.
They're
Well,
not
isn't
cheap.
PlayStation 5 controllers like $70-$80 a piece too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
I'm not sure.
incredible.
It's just
how
because
I don't
expensive
have
they're
a
putting a bunch of
PS5.
tech in all
Well,
these
I get
controllers
that
now, and
Dude,
that's what it is.
I hate the fact with the PS5 controllers with the adaptive triggers. I've heard about so many of those breaking
Really?
because like people will
It makes sense.
like they go to press down on it, but then it resists, so they press harder, but then they end up snapping something inside. And I've heard or like the motor will just go out because there's too much resistance being pushed up against. Like I've heard so many different things about. I want to play it.
It's a cool
I
idea.
want
It's
to
just
try.
not practical for a controller.
Yeah, I want to try super bad like Call of Duty with the adaptive triggers though, and have
Yeah.
the resistance and stuff, and like have it kind of bouncing, like like
Yeah.
you're actually firing.
Too bad
I
we'll
want to know.
never get Call of Duty again on PlayStation.
True, that is
No,
fair.
I don't know about that yet. That's
No,
different.
they'll sell it for.
There's,
money.
I mean,
Yeah.
they, Microsoft
on-
owns
yeah.
Minecraft, and Minecraft's still on PlayStation. They're still
Yeah.
putting stuff out. So I mean, I'm not too worried about that.
You know they're not doing one every year now.
I know, I saw that. Which actually,
Which
that
is
that can be the
such a
fourth.
plus.
That'll be the
Yep.
fourth
All right,
topic
we'll
since
talk about it
Weston's
later.
not here. That'll
right.
be it.
So yeah, Forbidden West so far, I think it's stellar. I haven't beaten it yet. We'll see then. I think they did a good job, and I don't talk about Game of the Year this early. You know me,
Oh yeah, you're very cynical. Wait,
but this and Elden Ring are up there.
Oh,
Like,
honestly,
The
okay.
only I don't know what else is.
Have
anything
you have
great.
Elden Ring
Legends
I don't
already?
have
Arceus.
it.
Legends Arceus
okay.
will be on there. Whether you like it or
What's
not, I think it's going to
coming
be on
out
there.
is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Anything new? I don't know of any other stellar game that's coming out that will be
Mm-hmm.
a contender. Really, the only thing that is really going to in contention with this game is Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring will probably get it.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
That game's awesome.
it's
Yeah.
up. It's a contender, and that's how good it is. So
Now,
I recommend.
correct
you
me
play
if
it.
I'm wrong. Just quick reminder, side note about Elden Ring here.
We'll talk
the-
about that in a bit. I think. Oh no, never mind.
We're not
You
talking
already-
about that.
You already.
He had
Yeah,
to
I
stop
already
it.
talked
The writer was Game of Thrones writer, right?
Yeah.
He
Okay.
was
Well,
co-writer.
he's part
Okay,
of
well,
it,
co-
The
he-
guy who does all the
yes.
Souls
Yeah.
stories, Miyazaki.
But they worked together to
Yeah.
write this one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I could never remember if it's Lord of the Rings or
Yeah, Game
if
of
it
Thrones.
was Game of Thrones.
Game
Like
of Thrones.
I know it was one of those.
George R.R. Martin.
I'd be
That's it.
sick if it was Lord of the Rings guy.
Okay.
J.R. Tolkien.
Two. Yeah, I always forget.